Good morning, folks, and welcome to another nerd venture, the first in my Studio 1.0, I'm going to call it. You can't really see right now, but I will flash to the other camera. I have a second camera recording in front of me, and I basically picked up a desk that I am now hoping will assist me in showing art and interesting parts of the book, while also being able to talk to you, as obviously I so eloquently can. With a camera on my face. So, yeah, it's not quite in its final form. Its power level is not over 9,000 yet. It still has many more evolutions to go. But in this particular way, I'm hoping that I will be able to provide a better quality production for you. Hopefully switch back and forth between some stuff and not just always have, either my face or my hands. So, should be neat. And yeah, it's going to be changing and morphing over the next couple months as I figure out how I want to do it. So today, to inaugurate said desk action, we are going to be looking at my Baltimore Comic-Con 2016 haul. And that is going to include sketches and books, a bunch of different stuff. But if you did not know, I was at Baltimore this last weekend, September 2nd through the 4th, and I really enjoyed it. There's a video on my channel I'll post in the annotations or in the links or whatever to check that out. Basically, I just did a 30-minute kind of cut-together walk-around of the convention over the course of 2 days. I didn't really... It's hard because for me to record something like that, I'd really just have this lav mic that I bought the other day, and my iPhone is how I record everything. And so I think I got some alright stuff from the con, but it's not obviously, as professional or perhaps high in production quality as it could be. But I have ideas next year about renting out a table and making it a more stationary experience, and then being able to interview people and sort of show you around the convention a little more. This one, honestly, was a little bit slapdash. It was my first press pass to cover an event, and I really enjoyed it. It definitely gave me the bug to cover some more stuff. And while I was down there, not only was I taking videos and covering stuff, I was also picking up books, as any self-respecting comic goer would. Obviously, if you watch the channel, you know that I'm not really a collector of single issues, so these are all hardcovers and things that I was able to find. So let's, without any further ado, dive right in to what exactly I picked up at Baltimore Comic-Con 2016. There was quite a lot of good stuff. If you go to a convention, there's vinyl pops, and there were Lego pieces, and there's like fake weapons, and there's t-shirts and posters and prints, and there's all kinds of good stuff to pick up. Per my collecting habits, I obviously looked for hardcovers. And I'm going to start, though, with my sketches that I got from various creators. One of my favorite parts about going to conventions is meeting artists and having sketches done from them. For me, I usually choose to do hardcover books. I really like to have books that I can put on a library, put on a shelf in my library and then kind of open and see these little sketches. I know that a lot of people do sketch covers, and I have one sketch cover in here just because I was in line and it happened to be working out like that. But for me, most of the time, I like to do books. So let's talk about the first thing. And one of the highlights of the weekend was meeting Walter Simonson. And I was able to get my Star Slammers book sketched and signed by him. So this was the Star Slammers collection that IDW put out maybe a year ago or something like that. It's a nice collection. It's an oversized, absolute edition size collection of all of Walter's Star Slammers work, which began as his Rhode Island Institute of Design project. So it's been around for quite a while, since the late 70s. And then eventually was a Marvel graphic novel, and then eventually was a series of issues at Malibu Comics or something like that. So basically, if you don't know Walter, the way he does it a lot of times at conventions is he will sign in the morning or for some specified time, and then he'll usually tell everybody in the line, come back at 4 or 5 or whatever in the afternoon, and I'll do some sketches. So we went, my friend Ryan and I, who was with me at the con, we went back to his booth at about a little bit before 4, like 30 or 40 minutes before 4. Sat in line there with a couple guys who were really friendly, a couple hardcore comics fan guys. And then we just waited for Walt to come back, and he was kind of in a rush, so he wasn't like, he only did probably 10 sketches, and he was a little bit just frazzled. He's been sick and stuff too, and it was his birthday. So all props to Walter Simonson for doing anything for us. But if you can see this book, it already had actually a Walt signature in it. There's like a little Simonson's book plate attached to all of these, so there's his pencil signature. And what I actually got him, I just wanted a Star Slammers sketch. So this is just like a generic Star Slammers character, sort of in the set of the armor that Star Slammers uses. He, if you watch my Baltimore video, I have video of him doing this. He just did like a rough pencil layout and then just did a Sharpie little Star Slammer in there. So really nice, signed with his signature, which is in the shape of a Brontosaurus. I'm sorry, I don't know dinosaurs that well, but Walt studied geology actually, and like is really into dinosaurs and stuff like that. So before he was a comic book artist, so he does this like kind of signature that looks like a dinosaur, and he dated it on his birthday. So that was a lovely little birthday gift from Walter to me on his birthday. That was lovely. And yeah, I was very happy about this. I already own this book, obviously. I just took it down to him, and he signed it up for me, which was great. He's a really friendly dude. Can't ask for much more. And speaking of which, Walter continued to impress me with his friendliness and signing skills and everything. He actually took... So this was the Thor Omnibus by Straczynski. It has nothing to do with Walter at all, but I don't have the Simonson Thor Omnibus anymore. I tried to trade it away, but then it ended up getting lost in the mail. So anyway, basically he took this book, and then I asked him to do a Odin in it. Well, actually what happened was, first, if you look at this book down here, he has a little mini Thor. So basically we were waiting in line, and it was coming to pass that he wasn't going to be able to do sketches on the second day. So I kind of walked up to him and set this book down, and I was like, oh, there's so much space, it's too bad you can't do a sketch. Sort of like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? And he did like a little Simonson signature with a mini Thor in the O of the Simonson signature. Definitely something he's probably done before for people where it's like, you don't have time for a full head sketch, but he'll do like a little bit like that. So that was lovely of him. I also have down here a hammer from Mark Morales. He was at the convention, and he was the inker on this book on the Straczynski run, so I had him do a little... I just asked him like if he could do a little Thor. I was hoping for a head sketch or something like that, but I got a cool hammer, which was nice. And then later we came back to Simonson when we were just about to leave the convention, and he did this lovely Odin for me, which is really cool of him. I really like it a lot. I think it's really nice, and it's just a little tiny little head sketch. And Walt is such a nice guy. He did all of these for free. He's just really into meeting people and getting as much kind of like fandom out there. He does everything for the fans, and he's such an awesomely cool guy. So thank you so much, Walter. I sincerely appreciate all of your efforts to come out while you were, sick and while it was your birthday to do sketches for us, because you really made a lot of people happy with that. So thank you. And moving on to my next sketch, I got my Swamp Thing Deluxe Edition done up by Yannick Paquette, who is the most friendly person I've ever met in my life, I think. He's so great. If you ever see Yannick at a convention, absolutely stop and say hi to him and talk to him for a moment, because he's just like a true like Renaissance gentleman, handsome, bearded French-Canadian guy. And he's into like entomology at first when he was younger, and then like classical music, and then eventually he got into comic. He's just like did everything. He's super, super friendly. And so I brought him my Swamp Thing hardcover, which collects the Scott Snyder run, the Scott Snyder and Yannick Paquette run, which he did all the art for. And I sort of got to him like right before when he was setting up his booth. And I asked him if I could drop off a hardcover, and he's not like actually that wild about sketching in this particular hardcover, because it has The paper stock is not amazing for taking watercolors, and he is a big watercolor guy. So he was telling me that he would have to probably do black and white, and I was like, that's fine. You know, I honestly prefer black and whites to watercolor stuff. Not that Yannick's watercolors aren't really beautiful, but for me, I just kind of prefer the black and whites. And so he took my hardcover overnight on Friday and Saturday and made this for me. And it is beautiful. I really love this sketch a lot. It is a sort of Swamp Thing bust with a background in there, some wildlife and trees and all that jazz. And it's super nice. Like I said, Yannick is super friendly. He did the sketch, and then he signed it for me. And I really love, you know, his line work is like really thin on his sketches. It's sort of just like really, really thin ballpoint line work. But I think it looks really nice with the way he draws Swamp Thing and kind of the flowers and the trees and everything. I really like it a lot. My friend Ryan got a Punisher from him on a sketch cover that was really nice. But yeah, if you ever meet him, just be aware that if you're getting sketches from him and stuff, he's much more of a like a watercolor 11 by 17. He wants to do like bigger watercolor work. And giving him like a sketch cover, he's not wild about sketch covers because I think oftentimes, like I said, they don't take paint and watercolors in the same way. So thank you, Yannick, so much. I loved meeting you, and this is an awesome piece to my sketch collection. Love it, love it, love it. And then my final edition is actually a sketch cover, which, like I said, is unusual for me. I don't usually get this, but Kevin Eastman was there. He's the co-creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, former owner of Heavy Metal magazine, and I think he's the current publisher of Heavy Metal. So, big guy in indie comics and stuff in the mid to late 80s. It's when the Turtles really blew up. And he was doing, basically, he was the guest of honor for Baltimore this year, and he was doing a bunch of different signings. Ryan and I were lucky to get him on Friday and get it in the line then when he was doing basically like quick head sketches for everybody who was in the line. If you waited in the line, which I think we waited like 45 minutes or an hour or so, you could get one, head sketch, signature, and then the rest of everything you could just get books signed. So we waited in line, and Ryan and I got a combo Bebop and Rocksteady sketch. I felt a little bit bad because originally I told Ryan that I probably wasn't going to want to keep it, and like it didn't really matter to me because I wasn't the hugest fan of Kevin Eastman. And then once I kind of got into it a little bit more, and like later that day, I was like, oh man, I kind of do want to keep it, dude. He's like, oh yeah, no problem. So thank you, Ryan, so much. I really appreciate you surrendering the sketch to me, but it's really nice. Kevin is a super nice guy. He was very friendly and answered some of my questions about Heavy Metal and Grant Morrison being the new editor and stuff. So very, very cool. It's just a blank sketch cover from the IDW series, which I have not ever read at all, to be honest with you. So I don't know that much about the series, but I do know that it was a very cool sketch. And I have a question for all of you guys out there. How do you display your sketch covers, if you have any? I'm just curious because I know a lot of people do CGC grading, get them slabbed in the CGC like plates, but I don't really care about that, and I don't really have any interest in spending the money to get that done. So if you have any tips or tricks for storing sketch covers, please let me know because I'm curious as to what people do with them. Alrighty, that is the end of my sketches and commissions and things like that haul. So now I'm just going to move on to some books. There are a couple that I got signed in here, but mostly they're just books that I picked up just to have. But before we get to the books, I just wanted to mention this really quick. I was able to pick up the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood set of Blu-rays, Complete Collection 1 and 2. Now, I've never talked about anime on the channel all that much. If you listen to my podcast that I do with Amani called Get a Cat, Get a Horse, we do mention anime a decent amount. We're both fans of it. And I picked this up because it's out of print, and it's very hard to find right now. I paid about $50 each for these Blu-rays, which collects the full 64 episode series. And online they're going for like, I think 120, or maybe the first one's like 80 something, or maybe a little more than that, and the second one's like 120 or 30, or maybe a little more than that. So I was able to get them both for a price that was like under that, which is great. But the gentleman who was selling these told me that Aniplex, which is the company that owns the rights to this, it was like recalling the rights, I guess, from Funimation and from the other companies. Like Funimation distributed and did a lot for this, and they are pulling back the rights to their stuff, which also includes Bakano, if you've ever watched that, a really good series as well, and some other stuff he was telling me. But they're basically recalling the rights and stopping those companies from printing more copies of their versions, and then maybe Aniplex is going to do their own. But that hasn't been announced yet, which means that in the interim between the rights being recalled and something being announced about new Blu-rays or new DVDs or collections or whatever, these have become pretty expensive. I couldn't find anywhere online either to stream them. I mean, that's not true. I'm sure there are plenty of, illegal or anime fan dub streaming stuff. There's tons of stuff out there for that. You could absolutely find it out there. But I'm talking about, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, the more legit ways with better quality streams, usually, in my opinion. I didn't really find any ways to find it online, so pick these up. Pretty happy about it. I'm going to watch through the series because I just had an itch to watch it the other day and haven't seen it in many years. So I'm going to watch through the series and then maybe let them go after that if the price is right, because like I said, they're pretty expensive and hard to find. But just a heads up, if you have an anime like store around you, or sort of like a Japan, a comic book shop that has a lot of anime or Japan-centric stuff, you might want to go and look for these, because if you can find them for the prices that you might get them for at a shop, it would be better than paying eBay prices. So just heads up. Next up is a really quick one. I don't really know that much about this series. I know that I've been meaning to get into it for a long time, and that is Chew by John Layman and Rob Guillory. Both John and Rob were at the convention, so I bought this book from them. I paid more than it's worth, I'm sure, because you can get it half off at different places like that. But I paid for the book right there, and then Rob was kind enough to do a sketch for me right in the front, and then John signed it with Baltimore 2016. Lovely gentlemen. Very friendly guys. I really enjoyed. I just sort of talked to them for a moment, but I'm going to be getting into Chew a little bit more. Like I said, I've been wanting to get this into this, and there's these hardcovers, and there's also like a more expensive like absolute size slipcase hardcover. But this just seemed like a good entry point, and I know the series is just about to ship its last issue, so hopefully I'll be able to talk about that in the not too distant future. And then the last thing I had signed was Zenozoic, which I've been wanting to grab this for a long time. This book has been on my radar forever. This is Mark Schultz. I think this was originally called like Dinosaurs and Cadillacs when it was coming out like in the 80s or something like that. Or maybe that was a different series. I don't know. Either way, Mark Schultz art is super awesome. It's kind of a throwback to like the older style 40s, 50s inked stuff that I really love, like Al Williamson and those guys. And Mark was there at the show. I'll show you on the other cam. He doesn't do sketches really at shows. He says he's too slow to do sketches at shows. But they had this book there. He was there with his publisher, Flesk, a rep from them, and they were selling a bunch of different Flesk books, and he was there, so he signed For Will, Best Xenozoic Wishes, and then did his signature, which his signature in and of itself is almost like a nice little sketch. But I was glad to get this. The guy said that, the publisher that he had said that there was like a little extra cash that they had that was kind of like dinged up, so they were selling it for half cover price. So I got it for a really good price, and with Mark's signature in it as well. So very excited about that. I'll be reviewing that at some point in the not too distant future. And then here's one that is still sealed, but I was very happy to get. This is Creepy Volume 3 of the Dark Horse Archives. This is a tough book to find these days. It's becoming harder and harder to find. Now that Creepy is on volume like 22, I think Eerie and Creepy Archives are on like 22, 23, something like that. The latest one just came out yesterday. Now that they're this far, unfortunately, the first like 5 of each series, I think, are becoming out of print and harder to find. So volume 3 is one that is pretty tricky to get in the Creepy series, and I was very happy to grab that up while I could, because I got it for half off, so $25, and I think it goes for 80 plus online. So I was very enthused about that. Gonna add that to my Creepy collection, which I hardly have anything from that archive series, but that's one that's on my eventual list of most wanted to read of all time. Like I need to read those because it's just so in my wheelhouse of short story, sci-fi, horror, black and white stuff. I love the idea of that. And then finally, the bulk of the volume, at least in terms of like size of my haul, is all related to old comic strip prints. So I was looking around, and there were actually quite a few tables that were selling these for a pretty good price. Most of these I paid $10, $15 for, which is like crazy since IDW, the cover price is $50, and IDW never does like first week discounts of more than like 30 on distribution sites. So $10, $15 for any of these, I was very happy for. The first set that I got was part of the Steve Canyon stuff. This is a strip from Milton Caniff, which he did after Terry and the Pirates. He left Terry and the Pirates, I believe, George Wonderland, or I don't know the name, but somebody else took over Terry and the Pirates from Milton Caniff, and he went on to do Steve Canyon, which was kind of like his magnum opus, very, very long-running strip with dailies and Sundays. And I've been wanting to start reading it for a while, but like I said, at the $50 price point for a lot of these, it's just a little much for me to jump on. So now that I have kind of caught the bug and been able to find them at some of the cons, I'm probably going to wait to get stuff like that, because these were all $10. I mean, you can't beat $10 a pop for hardcover strip reprints. That's amazing, especially with art from the likes of Milton Caniff, and then coming up next, Alex Raymond. Another one I was able to pick up was one of the Rip Kirby volumes. This is like one of the first detective series from back in I think this was the 30s or 40s. This is like a classic older one, Rip Kirby, 1946 to 48. So this is some awesome stuff. Again, strip reprints. Alex Raymond has a beautiful art style. I love him, but I don't love him as much as my all-time favorite black and white. All-time favorites, that's tough. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's actually my all-time favorite, but who I would hold up in the highest regard in terms of his comic strip work and just his ability to tell an amazing story with inking and just black and white is Al Williamson. And I was able to get a bunch of these Secret Agent X9 books. I mean, the art on these is stunning. I cannot believe how on fire he was doing a daily strip like this. Now, this strip ran from like 1969 or 67 onwards, I think like into the 80s. And then there were other people who worked on the strip as well. The first Secret Agent X9 was actually called Secret Agent Corrigan, and it was actually from like the 30s or 40s, I don't remember which. But that was done by Alex Raymond and written by Dashiell Hammett, or I hope I'm saying his first name right, who did Maltese Falcon and a bunch of different pulp kind of not secret agent, but like detective crime drama stuff. And so Raymond and Hammett did this original series, Secret Agent Corrigan, in the 30s, and I want to get that book as well. There is a reprint which collects all of that. And then in the 60s, Archie Goodwin and Al Williamson revived it as kind of like a 60s spy thing. And it is flippin' gorgeous. I mean, I can't even tell you how much I like Williamson's art. It's beyond me how this guy is able to do this. Like the work he does with these fine line inks and stuff like that, and his characters, and just I love it. I love it to death. So I'm really excited to get those. I got 3 of those volumes. I believe that there's at least, I don't know. Let's see. I got volumes 1, 3, and 5. So I think that there's at least 5. There might be 6 before somebody else takes it over in the end of the 70s from Al Williamson. But I'm primarily interested in the Williamson stuff, to be quite frank with you. And I am very excited to bring more reprint coverage, strip coverage to the channel. It's something that I have been looking at and waiting to jump into for a while now. I just haven't had the financial ability to pick up $30 a pop books, but if I can find them at $10 a pop, you know, if I can get all 3 of these books for the price that I would pay for one online, like, absolutely sign me up. I you know, I will go for that. So, yeah, this con was just, it was an amazing treasure trove for me as somebody who is into these old black and white IDW strip reprints. There's just so much cool stuff out there. So that's about it for my haul for today. I hope you enjoyed looking through some of these things, and especially with the different camera setup. I'm hoping that it will be a good way for us to move forward. I'm gonna, you know, play around with placing the camera further or closer or whatever. Right now I think it's at a pretty decent spot to show both my conversationality and the actual book itself. Hopefully it'll be a lovely setup for us moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, very soon there's going to be a video update and a launch of my Patreon funding campaign. There's going to be a bunch of different tiers. Most of them are related to streaming different content, book clubs and podcasting that I'm going to be working on, that you'll be able to live watch with myself and Amani and other people that are working on them with us. So I really hope that if you guys are interested or have any thoughts about Patreon or anything like that, please leave me comments and ideas about it. Like I said, it's going to be launching within the week, probably either this Friday or next Friday, and I'm going to make a video talking about why I'm using Patreon and why I think it's going to be just an amazing community building tool for us as a, you know, hardcore nerdy community. Especially the people that I see consistently in the comments are always asking me questions and all that stuff. Like, it's really going to be focused on people like that who want to get into the channel even deeper and just to be, you know, more interactive and more a part of the Nerdventures experience. So thanks guys for following me through my Comic-Con pickups, and I'm going to be making probably one more video related to Comic-Con, just about my thoughts about larger Comic-Cons and what, you know, I consider to be good and or bad, you know, behavior or whatever you want to call it, vis-a-vis other people at the convention, and making the experience good for you and everybody else. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these sketches and books that I picked up. I can tell you that getting those sketches really put an itch in me for more commission work. You know, I don't have the money at the moment at all, but it's such a cool thing, and I'm excited to be able to go to more cons and just get more original art, even if it is just head sketches. I really love the idea of that. So thanks as watching for always. Give me a like or a thumbs down if you enjoyed or disliked this video. Leave something in the comments, all that jazz. All of it is in the description if you want to follow me on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, whatever. And as always, my podcast is also around and available for you to consume. Links in the description below. So thanks guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Hope you have a great week.